Hey y'all, it's Michelle from the Scattered Scrapper. Welcome to my channel. Today is day 25 of Scrap-O-Ween. It is Trick or Treat Tuesday, and I have got some goodies to play with today. I've got the texture paste from Tim Holt Distress called Grave and Crit. I have the Distress ink called Uncharted Mariner. I have a stencil. I have some Vicki Boutin Foundations paper because I'm going to be getting kind of thick with my mixed media here. And I have my pictures all picked out, so let's get started. For this Trick or Treat Tuesday, the technique that I'm trying out is one that I saw on one of Vicki Boutin's lives that she did when she had received all of the Uncharted Mariner products from Tim Holtz, and she was trying them out. And I just absolutely loved the background that she came up with. So this is me trying to follow along with her video, and I'll be sure and link it down below so you can see the master at work. But here I was just loading up my little, I think it's a scrapbook.com dauber and the domed foam applicator that I'm using, and I just got it full of the ink there, and I'm just making circles. Some of the circles I'm making very distinct, and then some of the circles are really hazy around the edges. And I'm basically kind of following along where she put her ink layer down, but I am trying to pay attention to where I want to put my photos because it's a little bit different than how hers turns out. But I'm just going through here and laying down this foundational layer of the ink, and this is the Distress ink and not the oxide. The Distress oxide. And then the next thing that she does is she takes some baby wipes and she has her stencil, and she just kind of dabs the baby wipe through the stencil. And because the Distress ink from Tim Holtz is water reactive, the ink moves and it comes off onto the baby wipe. So it's lifting up the ink here, and it's also redepositing it in other places. So my baby wipes are really, really dry because I've had them forever. And you do want your baby wipe to be kind of dry. You don't want it to be really, really wet, or else it will end up bleeding up underneath your stencil and you won't have as crisp of an image. See, when you lift it up, you can see how the bats are there. And in some places, it's where I've lifted the ink up off of the circles, and in other places, it's where ink has been deposited in spots that there wasn't any ink. So you kind of get just a bunch of different shades going on. I just think this is such a cool idea, and I'm definitely going to want to do it again in like the summer. You could do it with like beach balls, or you could do it with stars. You could do it in the spring with a floral stencil. That would be so pretty too. And there I'm just kind of figuring out where I want my bats to fly from, and kind of following along with the direction that I laid my circles down with. And a little bit later on, okay, actually, before I say that, let's go back to here. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to put down a layer of these, what's he called them? Distress pastes. One's a texture paste and one is a grit paste. Now this first one that I am going to use is the grit paste in Crypt, and it actually has like little pieces of stone in it. So it has, like it says, it's got a kind of a gritty texture to it. And then the lighter one that I'm using this to give some contrast so that my bats are not just kind of one-dimensional here. The other one is the texture paste in Grave. And let's see. The grit paste says that it's granite tinted and it's a translucent medium with flecks of black. And then the Grave texture paste says it's stone tinted and it's an opaque medium designed to create dimensional effects. So one of them is kind of translucent where you can see through it a little bit when it dries, and the other one is opaque so you don't see through it. So in person, when this all dries, where the the grit paste is at, it is translucent and you can see the blue up underneath it. And then where the lighter color is, the texture paste, you just see the color of the texture paste. It's that lighter, well, I guess stone color. So I'm not really being very careful as far as how full I have the bats. When I put down the grit paste, I just kind of smear it on there and not really worry about how full I get them. And then I just go back over it again with the texture paste. And I'm just using my Bob Ross palette knife here that I've had for a long, long time. That makes it pretty easy. And just kind of wiped all that off. And I just, I went and I washed all of that off of my stencil. So this dried just a little bit while I was away. And now her next step was to take the mister and spray over all of the ink and get it kind of running down the page and dripping. And then that also helps to kind of take those harsh edges off of the circles. And so I can't remember if I let that dry very much or not, but because I wanted to add some splatters, I have the, oh goodness, what's it called? Hang on. It is the Distress Spray Stain in Uncharted Mariner, and I sprinkled that all around. And I just went ahead and let that dry overnight, and now I'm getting ready to put my photos on. And today I am using the, oh, what day? I forget what day this is now. When I'm doing this voiceover, it's a completely different day. But the sketch that I'm using is by Allison Davis. And, oh yes, day 25 from 30 Days of Sketches with Christy's Beautiful Life. And I picked out some papers to make the strips that are in the sketch from the 6x8 paper pad, because they're the perfect length for this sketch. And then I'm going through the big paper pad for the Pebbles Spooky Collection to find some embellishments. So while I do have the die cut pack, most of it is words and titles and not a lot of icons. So I'm going to cut out some of these little jack-o'-lanterns. They are adorable. And then I am going to trim out some of the florals. Now the florals do overlap quite a bit, so you don't get, I guess you could say, as clean of a fussy cut with the florals, but we make it work. So the best tip I have for fussy cutting is just use the pair of scissors that is the most comfortable in your hand, whether it's the big ones or the small ones. Just get those that are comfortable to you, and then keep that hand still and use your other hand to move the paper around and not the scissors. And I got that trick from, State Goddess here on YouTube, Sandy. That's her name. And then my ATG gun got all tangled up, so I had to fix that. And I cut that out so you didn't have to see me fight with that. I had the worst time with this particular refill. I usually don't have a problem with my ATG gun refills, but this one has really been a stinker. So in order to map my photos, I'm going to use this orange and black tissue paper. I just like the color of this orange, and I like the texture of the tissue paper. So I really enjoy it, and I like to use it. And I started doing that when I saw Adele from Inky Quill here on YouTube do that. So here I'm just kind of figuring out the best place to put my photos, and I like them better a little bit on the diagonal here like this. In the sketch, they're not straight across the center. They kind of bump up and down a little bit, but they're still very, very much in the middle of the layout. But because I had put in my bats and the ink and stuff, I wanted to still be able to see it. And in the sketch, she has her little strips with fishtail banners. So I'm using my little, I think this may be the small hexagon punch. I can't remember if it's Fiskars or not. Let's see. I think it is. Yes, there it is. It's a Fiskars punch. But I just got those done, and now I'm figuring out what order I want to put them in. And because I am putting these on top of some mixed media, especially the grit paste and the texture paste, I am going to use some wet glue. There we go. And I'm just using my same old, the Scotch Create Tacky Glue. This bottle just seems to go on forever and ever, but it's about out. And I'll have to use something else. I think I'm going to be trying the Nuvo Deluxe glue that I've seen a lot of people using this past year or so. So I got me some, and I'm going to give it a try and see how I like it compared to this glue. But I like this one because it dries quick, and that means I can keep moving. I don't have to wait. But sometimes it does give you some play. So like with these pictures here, I'll still be able to move them around just a little bit. And I get that tucked in. And these pictures are actually from inside the Buc-ee's. That is, it's not really, well, I guess it's the nearest one to me. And we had stopped by there after my daughter and her friend went to a haunted house that was nearby. So we stopped in there because we had never been in a Buc-ee's before, and wow, what an experience. I had to take a bunch of pictures. So, because it is an experience. And we had a lot of fun. We walked around. The things that I ended up buying were some cast iron cookware. I'm like, here I am at a gas station. I'm buying cast iron cookware. But, it's so much more than a gas station. The food there was phenomenal. Oh my goodness. So many choices. But anyway, so that's what these pictures are from. And I thought it was hysterical that they had this t-shirt here that says, "You serious, Clark?" And I read that t-shirt in the woman's voice from the movie. If you've never seen National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, it is hysterical. It is a staple here in our home during the Christmas season. And so I had to take a picture of that. And then here is where I'm just piling on all of the flowers and the pumpkins that I fussy cut. And I'm pretty much just following the sketch and getting everything situated where I want it. And I almost did just a basic, let's see, what does Adele call it from Inky Quill? Stick and plonk. I so rarely stick and plonk. I usually have to plan out exactly where everything is going to go. But in this case, once I found a spot, I, for the most part, just go ahead and glue it down. There was a few little places where I planned it out a little bit beforehand, but if I could get into that mindset of just sticking and plonking, then I know I could probably make my layouts a whole lot faster. But I don't know. It's so scary for me to think about doing that because I'm just like, I'm such a planner. I got to plan it out first. But I tried to just kind of let loose a little bit with this one. And once I decided on which pumpkin I wanted to use or, you know, which little floral spray, I went ahead and just glued it down. And so I have a couple little pumpkins just peeking out here and there, and some are sitting on the top. And I thought about popping some things up on foam, but since the background is as busy as it is, and it already has the texture paste and the grit paste and everything going on, I decided to just leave it flat. It's fine. Because there is such a contrast in color from the background, I think that it doesn't need to be lifted up off the page. Of course, you can never go wrong with blue and orange. They are beautiful together. I can't remember. Is it complementary colors? I don't know the color wheel all that well. Or are they contrasting? They're contrasting colors, aren't they? I don't remember. But anyways, what I do know is that orange and blue are absolutely gorgeous together, and you cannot go wrong putting them together on your page. And then I'm going to trim this little pumpkin guy off that was hanging off the edge there. And I'm going to go ahead and put my title down. And of course, I have got to put on some more splatters. Can't go with just that one little bit. No, now that everything is on here, I need to put more. Because I have to get my mica stains on here. My most absolute favorite supply that I have used this whole month. I have loved it so much. So I ended up using the mica stain in Iron Gate, and then I used Burning Ember. I hope he comes out with those again next year because I need to buy them again. Because I have loved these so very much. And I believe that is going to do it. Yep, that's going to do it. I hope you are enjoying this series. Hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you give these techniques a try. It was definitely a treat for me this time. Check out the links below for everyone playing along with 30 Days of Sketches, and I'll see you next video. Bye-bye.